Okay, we are live. And it's only 6:01, so, we're doing pretty good. Actually, we haven't been doing this since about last August, so this is a crash course into it. But anyway, thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Kiersten Hall. I am with Fox Pointe Publishing, and I am joined with the six people from Fox Pointe Publishing. You just can't happen to see one of them, but I will introduce him as well. Anyway, we are starting off in every, the second and fourth Tuesday of every month through 2021. If, by December, I'll be really good with this. But anyway, we are
promises.
The what?
I said promises.
Exactly. Anyway, who knows? Okay. So yeah, we are doing this to just introduce you to some of the fabulous people that we have at Fox Pointe. We actually have 30 people. They are awesome. They rock. There is no doubt about it. I am totally blessed that they have decided to jump onto our crazy train. We have a heck of a good time. But we're gonna start introducing everyone. All right, the lady of the hour would be Amanda Skou. She is not only our author of the month, but her book just came out, and she is going to introduce herself and her son, and a little later, she's going to tell us all about her book. All right, Amanda, say hi.
Hi, I'm Amanda Skou, like I was just introduced, and this is my son, Joey Skou, and he's the inspiration for our newest book, Superhero Joey, which is just come out in January.
So. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Very good. Oh, Joey's got it down. He's got positioning of the book like Vanna White. Very good. All right. The next one up on my screen that I can see is Kayla. Kayla is one of our illustrators. She is awesome at what she does. She actually illustrated Superhero Joey. She does quite a bit of our books. And so Kayla, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Kayla Olson-Surface, and I illustrate it for Fox Pointe. Working on Bobby Bear 2 right now. That's almost done. A couple more days, I got it. And I was a part of the Superhero Joey books, and I also have illustrated for Helen down there, and I'll be starting a troll book for Paula here next, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, you definitely do a lot of books. So there's no doubt about that. All right, I'm next in the run-ups, and I gotta find myself. I'm Kiersten Hall, and aside from being a co-publisher with Fox Pointe Publishing and doing the publicist end of things and such, and all the nuts and bolts, I am an author as well. Here's my first one. And I'm actually going to give one of these away tonight. My second one is Corner Confessions, which is the first in a 3-book series that goes with The Lies We Live. And then my first children's book was Jelly Beans. And my second kids book that just came out is The Blue Frog. And so occasionally I write books when I'm not doing everything else that I do. But actually Kayla's got she's got 2 of my kids' books eventually will fall into place. And she's going to be illustrating some of my books. As a matter of fact, she did the people in The Blue Frog. So she does my illustrating as well. All right, the next one over to that side of me is Paula Morhardt. Paula Basinger Morhardt is her author name. And she, oh my gosh, she has a lot. And by the way, look at that fine office back there. She has reorganized, she rebuilt things. Okay, so Paula, take it away.
Before I met Kiersten and Fox Pointe, I have 2 books published on Amazon, Widow's Walk and Widow's Tears of Sorrow. And then I met Kiersten, so I had 2 volumes of poetry, Days of Days and Night Maze. And then I decided that I needed to step into the children's market, and I have Sweet Sour Cherries is my children's book. And then I decided I wasn't done and I needed to start a series. And this is Through the Garden Window. The first one is Season of Harvest. The second one, Through the Garden Window Family Memories, will be coming out in another couple months. And there will be hopefully 13 altogether in the series, making it, of course, a baker's dozen. And the books contain recipes from my mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and in one case, my great-great-grandmother. And we actually copied the recipes, scanned them, so the original recipes are actually also in the book. And I have another book coming out here in a couple weeks, and another one next month, and one after that.
Yeah, she has a lot of stuff going on. All right, the one under Paula is Helen. She actually put out 6 books in 2020, so it should be interesting to see what she's got up her sleeve for 2021. Helen, if you want to say hi to everyone.
Well, hello, and I got the fan here.
Yes.
So just got the newest one yesterday, so that's fun. And I hate to say, but I had most of these all written, so I don't know what's going to happen next year, because it's not that I wrote 6 books fast. It's like, I set the bar too high.
Yeah, you did. Well, you're working on a sequel for Unusual Tale, right?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna do some more with The Knight and the Princess,
Okay.
because I promised at the back of the book I would.
Well, now you're looped into it.
I'm hooked.
Okay. What was it you told me? Promises.
Right.
Touche. Yeah. Okay. It all comes around. All right. And then going over from Helen on my screen, we have Ray, and she is one of our editors who does actually quite the lion's share of stuff on in Fox Pointe. And besides doing a lot of editing, she also has a book coming out the end of February. And so, Ray, if you want to introduce yourself.
I mean, that was a really good introduction. I don't know how I can top that. My name's Ray. My book is coming, like it's here, I promise. I actually just turned in proof, so we got everything kind of like in motion. I got to see a map that's going in it, so I'm pretty excited. And then I actually am, yes, a freelance editor, and I have started with, actually it's been almost like 10 months since I started with Fox Pointe with everything going on. So I'm almost at my 1-year anniversary, and then I have like my book coming out too.
Yep. We're gonna have to think of something for all the anniversaries. Anyway, but okay, so here's the rule of the game. In order for us to know that you exist, and if you would like to win a free book, earn a chance at winning a free book, you have to type a question into the chat box for any one of us about any of our books, about the process of publishing, whatever, because that's the only way we know you exist. There you go. Maybe there's a different way, but we haven't figured that out yet. So you have to write a question for us to know. And I should also point out that we do have Brad on. He is our IT webinar facilitator guy. And so, yeah, he plays the Wizard of Oz. He makes this possible, because otherwise we would still be wondering what we're doing. But okay, the book's up for tonight is Terrific Tongues. Brand new, just got it in the mail yesterday. Helen Holder right there for you. Sweet Sour Cherries this is your first book, right, Paula? First children's
My first
book?
children's
Yeah,
book, yes.
First children's book. It came out in, I want to say November-ish, December. All right, so that.
Yeah, December.
And I should say Terrific Tongues is good for the 4 to 8-year-old in your life who's curious. It's a fun book. Sweet Sour Cherries is that 3 to 7 range. And anyone that likes bunny rabbits. Then we have
Yes.
Sleepover with Grandma is also another Helen Holder book. And this is very colorful, great for that 4 to 8 range again.
A lot of grandmas got it for Christmas.
Yeah, they did. Boy, talk about setting the bar high for all the grandmas that got it. Then, of course, we have Superhero Joey, the book of the month. there you go. And actually it is truly the book of the month from the author of the month. So there you go. Through the Garden Window is the first of the Baker's Dozen cookbook. And I'm going to point out right now, I have known Paula for probably 5 or 6 years. She is known for her apple cider, her mulled cider. And when I first had it, I said to her, oh, this is delicious. Can you give me the recipe? And she said something along the lines of, over my dead body, will I ever part with that recipe? It is what, the first recipe in here? So,
Yes,
oh
it
my
is.
gosh, I'm just saying. And she's an excellent cook. So it is definitely the book to get. And then we're going to give away one of my I Do books. I personally used to shoot professional wedding videography. I've done over 1,400 weddings in my life. Let's just say I've seen things, and they're in that book. So, okay, let me see. I'm going to be looking for questions. Remember, you have to write a question, otherwise we don't know who you are. And all right, so the first one up, well, I don't have a question yet. So Amanda, why don't you start talking to us about Superhero Joey and how you came about writing the book and how it all came together and that kind of thing. And you have to unmute yourself.
I wasn't gonna do that. I did that. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I was like, I'm a Zoom pro because Joey's been on Zoom for school for forever, but we did it anyway. Joey, when he was 4, I got a phone call saying that he was having a seizure at school, and nobody in my family has had seizures, and there was no way. I knew very little about it, and so he was the inspiration for the book. When he got out of the hospital and we found out that he was having seizures and he's epileptic, we decided that, or I tried to look online for books and I didn't come across anything. And so I decided, well, I guess that's a sign I'm supposed to write one. So that was kind of a short story. That's how this story came about with Joey.
It would be a good book to give to, you had mentioned way back when that, you know, in a doctor's office, the doctor hands the kid a pamphlet, but talks over the kid, you know, about what's
Right.
going on. So this would be a good thing to give, a good book to give the kid. Oh.
Yeah, all the information that I was ever given or we knew about, it was that way above a child's head. So I was like, we need something that, you know, can explain things down at a younger child's level, because I know the average age is about 8 is what they say for a child to, who's going to have a seizure comes or has them. But he was younger, and there are children out there that are even infants. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Oh boy, we have all sorts of questions. Okay, we've got the first one from Terry and Sarah. How many books has Fox Pointe Publishing done? I think we're up to what, 31 active titles? Oh my gosh, now I don't even know. There's a lot. And I will point out January 1st, 2020, we opened up our business for business. We had Carmen in the mix already, Carmen Tribbett, and she'll be on future shows. And then we got Thea Kwame and Amy Gregg came on. And so that was January 1st. And then it was a couple months later. Oh, well then Helen, I think, was our next one. And we had breakfast with her at Perkins. She had all these manuscripts and we took them all and made them into books. And then Paula, I think, was the next one on. So yeah. And the next question is, how many authors are there? I think we're up to, hold on. I think we're at 20 now. This morning, we signed a new sci-fi author out of Illinois, John Levinek, and he's got quite a lot of material. So look for fun things coming from him, but I think he's our 20th author. And how many illustrators do we have? well, we have Kayla and we have Kim. Do we have any other illustrators? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, gosh, I'm sorry. Well, Paula works with Peggy McDowell, and I have called on Peggy a couple of times to do things. And if I could get Peggy rounded up and put her picture on there, I have offered. So Peggy, if you're watching, the offer still stands. We'll loop you into the crazy train that we've got going on. But yeah, Peggy, and then actually Regina Knoll Downing, who just signed on with us on January 1st. She is coming in with an illustrator named Matthew Habron, and he's already pretty much illustrated the whole book as there is. And oh gosh, there's someone else. Oh, Carmen Tribbett works with Katie Hunter-Dose. And so yeah, some people bring in their own illustrators. They do have to be Fox Pointe approved. Otherwise, in-house illustrators, we have Kayla and Kim. And maybe in the future, maybe we'll have more, but we'll see. Okay, and then from Lisa, who is our audiobooks person, who's going to be joining us in a couple months on this. She says, for those of you that write fiction, are your characters based on yourself or people you know? So, Ray, your fiction. And you're muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes and no. So when I first started my character, which is named Rune, which is kind of funny because Chelsea actually called me Rune a few times in our email exchanges, and it just cracked me up because I was like, oh, okay, how can I respond to this in my character's response? So I was excited. So parts of Rune are actually parts of me, different things of anxiety. I do struggle with anxiety, so sometimes she has some moments that I haven't personally experienced, but I can understand kind of like the tightening of the chest and the trouble breathing. Inspiration then in terms of outside people, I'm always kind of like that creepy person that I guess that you could say is people watching. Like I'm like, oh, what is he wearing today or something like that. But somehow it kind of ends up in the book, or it's just inspiration that I would see when I'm reading something else or watching something. So it morphs and it becomes its own entity in its own.
Okay. And let's see, fiction, we've got Paula, you don't have fiction yet.
Just for the children's book, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's troll. That's troll. Oh my
Well,
gosh. She has a troll book coming out. So unless she has a troll hiding in her house, never mind. Okay, and Helen, you've got children's fiction as well, but do you want to tell us how you came up with all your different stories from way back when?
Well, David's pretzels was my son David used to bite the pretzels into the letter shapes. So I notice I'm all backwards on the camera, but I don't know how to do that. So there you go. So that was David. And then I painted a magenta flamingo. That was a comment made by a grandchild. And a sleepover with grandma, a grandchild actually invited me to go on a sleepover with her, but we didn't get to go. So the hostess got sick, so I didn't get to. So that's total fantasy. I'm not that kind of grandma. And Glorious Gertie, we were just driving to Florida and I saw some fireworks store with a fabulous name. So I would say I stole it, except I wrote the story and lost it and wrote the story and lost it. So I have no idea what the original store's name was.
Okay. All right. And then Randy asks, did Joey tell all of his friends about the book? That's pretty cool to be the star of a book. So Joey, did you tell all your friends?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Have you been asked to give autographs? You've been autographing the books, haven't you?
Yep. He
Yeah.
autographed 50 books already.
Yeah.
60?
Got an order for another 50, but we have another 50 coming. He doesn't know this yet, but
Surprise.
yeah.
Holy monkeys. Yeah. The superhero Joey started pre-ordering beginning of October, and I know that you've done really well with it. Our goal now is to get it in all those doctors' offices and
Right.
classrooms. That's a big place
That's
for
true.
that to be. Parents.
Hopefully in his classroom by Monday.
Oh, perfect.
So,
Okay. And then Anna writes, I'm interested to know about the cookbooks, how many have published? So Paula.
Well, the Season of Harvest is the first one. And what they are, the first 4 books in the series are a series of 12 essays with a recipe with each essay. The last book in the series will be 2 recipes with every essay. And then the next 4 in the series will be just cookbooks, but again, with a lot of family memories and things like that. The last 4 are going to be tips, tricks, and projects. And I'm kind of leaving the 13th one as a surprise.
Okay, I won't say anything then.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And Carrie says, hey, Joey, how do you feel about mommy writing a book about you?
I am feeling
a little scared.
yeah, a little scared.
Took me a while to get him to warm up to the idea because it was a personal experience with him, but now that it's out there and open, I think he's good.
Mhm.
It'll
But-
help a lot of other little kids. So I think you're doing a pretty good thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. And then Randy says, Helen Holder, who is your favorite character that you've written about so far?
Well, I guess I like the grandma, even though I'm not that kind of grandma. Maybe it's what I would really like to be like.
And never get invited back to anyone's house again.
Right.
Here's the grandma, if you guys can see this. And Kayla did an awesome job with
Oh
the
yeah, it
illustrations.
was so fun.
These are awesome. I have a feeling that I might be one of those grandmas. And so future be warned, don't invite me into your house. Maybe I'm already that kind of a person. Probably shouldn't be invited anymore. All right, so Izzy writes, does the author or the illustrator get to come up with the art style for the book? I'm gonna leave this up to Kayla.
A little bit of both. Usually, Raven or Kiersten or Chelsea might throw some ideas at me early on, and then usually there's a time where I do some sketching, and then that's when I'll communicate with the author about, okay, what do you like? How about this style? How about this? This is what I see when I read the book. And then we just kind of come up with a final style before I do the final images. So
Okay.
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went back and forth a lot trying to figure out what my troll was going to look like.
Yeah, and then I told her, I was like, I got some new brushes and now I want to change it a little bit. I'm like, oh no.
And actually the troll book is part of a series as well, or it's turning into a series.
Yeah, let's just hold off on that. Rose petal's still growing.
Okay, never mind, I didn't say anything. Okay, you didn't hear it from me. All right, Stephanie says, how do you overcome writer's block? Okay, the first one up, we're gonna do Amanda. How do you overcome writer's block?
For me, I haven't ran into it much yet, but in the past when I was in school and doing some writing and would get stuck, I just kind of make a web of an idea and then just little ideas off of that, and then just try and find something that I liked and kind of, what do they call that? go with the flow of that.
Okay, and Ray, how about you for writer's block?
I was gonna be like, I don't overcome it. It kind of like slowly fades away. So it really depends on what I'm writing, like what scene, if it's a specific character or something like that. Usually I just start something else and do like a free write just to kind of get the creative juices flowing and then see if I can go back to that scene. Sometimes I actually have the hardest writing the middle of the story. Like I actually already know how the book's going to end, at least tentatively how it's going to end, and maybe even that very first original scene. But then everything in the middle is just like this big mystery to me. Like I just don't know how it's going to happen, but it will kind of thing. So if I come into writer's block, it's just keep writing and it will work itself out. Just don't stop writing. That was my problem before. I stopped when I got writer's block, and then it took me 5 years to come back.
All right, Helen, how about you?
That's kind of the same thing. You can leave that project and think about another one for a while, but you do have to just keep writing and keep thinking. Otherwise, it just sits there and you don't do anything with it. So that's not good either.
Mhm.
And you can, I mean, when you're writing, you write it and then it is totally nothing that you want to ever save for, then you can throw it out later.
And Paula, how about you?
I was going to ask, how do we ever throw that stuff out? I mean, I have got files of stuff that's like 6 paragraphs that I'm like, why did I keep this? But I stuck it back in the file.
Mhm.
I was just having, and Ray and I were talking about this last story that I was doing, and I had written it, I had sent it in, I got some things back, and so I rewrote it and I wasn't happy with it. And so I thought about it for 3 or 4 days, and then it came to me and I wrote it. And so that's the one we're working with now, and it's much better. But the thing with writer's block, you have to keep writing. I have a jar here on my desk with little slips of paper in that and people have heard me talk about this before. It's got 1 or 2 words on it. And it's something to write on. I make myself write every single day, whether it's on grass or mushrooms or clouds or moons or cats, a book on the shelf, whatever. I make myself write 2 to 3 paragraphs on it. But in the back of my head, other things are working away. And the other thing I do is I clean house. I hate to clean house. I absolutely hate cleaning house. And so I make myself clean house until the writer's block goes away. It goes away a lot faster that way.
As for me, for writing, it eats at me and it makes me mad because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and then I get mad at myself. I have no shortage of stuff to do in my world, but I really, as much as I would like to Netflix binge, I really need to work. I need to write because I would feel worse. I yell at myself a lot. Just know that I sit there and I yell at myself. So there you go. Literally. Anyway, all right. So that is how I overcome writer's block. There you go. All right. The next one up, Anna asks, Kayla, what character was your favorite to illustrate?
That's a very difficult question. Of course, it was fun drawing Joey and helping tell his story, but probably the dragon in An Unusual Tale, because I mean, he drinks coffee. I can relate to him, you know.
Uh-huh. And he cleans house. So
Yeah.
there you go.
He drinks coffee. He's misunderstood, so I can relate to him.
He's a cute dragon. As a matter of fact, Kayla's going to be, probably, I don't know, probably like late summer, early fall. She'll have another book coming out doing the illustrations for Joanne Stevenson, who will be on this February 9th. And her book actually comes out January 20th, called Late Side of Midnight. And but she has a dragon adventure, which I think she wrote for her grandkids. So like her grandkids make appearances in it. But anyway, so on that, let's see here. Ray, Lisa is wondering, is the map in your book a pullout or a 2-pager?
It is a 2-pager.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it has actually some sneak peeks of the prequel. So some of the places like are maybe mentioned, but they're kind of like little Easter eggs of what would be kind of happen before everything domesticated, if you want to put it that way.
Okay. And actually, you bringing up Easter eggs and maps reminds me of Kayla did Finkel and Franny, and of course I don't have, Kayla, do you have the cover?
Yeah.
Okay. You'd have to look really close at it, probably can't see it on there, but if you look at the front of it, it's got Kayla's name, AJ's name, Kiersten, Chelsea, Ray is on there. Everyone who had anything to do on Finkel and Franny, all of our names are on this map that's on the front page on the cover of Finkel and Franny. I thought that was pretty clever.
It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, they're hard to see, but did an awesome job on that. And that is by AJ Sullivan. And one of these days she'll be on here as well. I gotta get everyone roped in. It's like squirrels on the 4th of July. No, they do wonderful. Okay, so Terry and Sarah asked, Kayla, what character that you have illustrated has been the most challenging?
Probably the grandma and Sleepover with Grandma, just because when I first read the story, my great grandmother was very spunky, and so I started drawing this very elderly woman having fun. And so I was like, I'm not sure what Helen's picturing here. So I had to kind of reach out to them before getting the final look of the grandma a couple different times, and made her a lot younger over the course of those sketches. So that was probably the most challenging one for me.
Yeah, Kayla's original grandma probably went down by about 2 or 3 decades.
Probably, yeah, at least.
Yeah.
30 years.
I do remember going through all those emails. Okay, the next one up is, let's see, from Sandy. She writes, oh, how many books has Kayla illustrated? Now, not only Fox Pointe, but you do other illustrations too.
Yeah, I've done a couple others. I'd say right now I'm probably at about 15 or 16 done, and then a lot more coming this next year.
Yeah.
So they're starting to pile up here. I've got my whole stack here. So, and then I got a couple in the mail on the way. So, it's fun.
Yeah, and actually this last weekend I put together, I think 9 or 10 contracts.
Yeah.
Half of them were for Kayla and half of them were for Kim. So she's got more books coming. And plus she does, well, let's see, you do the AJ's book, Bobby Bear book series. You're doing any more things that Amanda comes up. Amanda, you've got what, 1 or 2 other books that you're working on?
Yep, they're in the process. One's almost finished, and the other one,
What is it called?
I've got ideas in my
What
head.
is it?
Oh yeah, once it starts, it just doesn't stop. So Kayla will be doing the majority of that, I would imagine, especially anything superhero Joey. Kayla will be doing. And then, yeah, so starting to get confused. Okay, so let's see, what are the, let's see, okay. I gotta figure, they just keep coming. There's a lot of questions. Thank you so much for asking questions. Kayla, do you ever have to work on multiple books at once?
We've tried that schedule. Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, just because I kind of like to just focus on one book and really get into it.
Yeah.
I feel if I'm going back and forth too much, I don't know, it gets a little confusing, and I don't know if it's as special. So I don't know. I'll talk to Kiersten about that this next year and see what we come up with.
Well, you know, she does an awesome job, and we did try that last fall because there were so many books. There are a lot of books, and really it was before Kim came on. Kim came on about the end of September and started alleviating Kayla, because really from last August, Kayla was booked with books, until like May of 2021. Solid book.
Problem
And
ahead.
yeah, and we were getting phone calls, and Paula's like, hey, I came up with this children's book. And we're like, okay, that's like June. And we're like, okay, that's not going to fly. So Kim actually called us out of the blue, clear sky, as Forrest Gump would put it, and said, hey, do you need an illustrator? I'm like, funny that you ask.
She's
And
an
so,
amazing-
yeah,
Amazing.
but yeah. All right, let's see. Anna put, I missed the beginning, so I don't know if I missed it, but what are all of the genres you published? Well, pretty much everything. We have a plethora of children's books. They are fun to do. I think too, you know, Helen used to teach first grade for 33 years, so she's got quite a bit. I've got 4 kids. Paula's a grandma of, what, 5 grandkids? Yeah. All of us, of course, are big kids, you know, so there you go. So we've got a lot of kids' books. We have some sci-fi and dark fantasy, and we have a horror book coming out kind of the middle to end of summer. We have cozy mysteries. Yep, poetry, exactly. We have cookbooks. Man, we have a lot. We have a lot. We do all the genres. We have a nonfiction historical on World War I, which actually will be out about the middle of May. So all sorts of things. And I will also say that our youngest author is 15, and he has a trilogy sci-fi series. And our oldest author, she's going to be 89 years old in March, in 2 months. And she has the Monster Dog book series as Carmen Tribbett. And she is also putting together a nonfiction Alzheimer's caretakers book to give to people. Again, talking beyond what you hear at the doctor's office. Here's the real account of what you're probably going to experience if you're taking care of someone with Alzheimer's. And that should be out, I would think, May or June, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay, Carrie says, are you going to write more grandma stories? Okay, Helen, are you going to write more grandma stories?
I guess I need a grandchild to say something else cute. So I don't know. We'll see if grandma makes another appearance. I don't.
Crazy grandma, yeah. Okay, Randy writes, what are the biggest challenges to getting a new book marketed and sold? Are you selling any digital versions? All of our books are on EPUB. If you go to foxpointepublishing.com, Point has an E on it because, you know, we have to be fancy. But foxpointepublishing.com, click on any one of those books that are on that first homepage. It'll take you to the information page about that book. And along one of the sides, it's going to say EPUBs. And besides Kindle, we have like 24 Symbols and Scribed and Biblio and Hoopla. And libraries can find us on Overdrive, Baker and Taylor, Nook, Apple Books. I mean, there's a lot of them. And they're on each page, and I update them regularly. And it's usually within a week or two, they start populating. Some of the EPUB companies take a little longer. Tolino and Biblio and Hoopla take a little longer to update. I don't know what their updating is, but check back periodically. You'll find that as well. And all of our physical books are available on Amazon. You can also get the books through our website. And if you look at the top, it says Shop Now. All of the books are available there as well. And let's see. And getting them out to market. The interesting part of that, it's not difficult typically, but let's just say 2020 has not been a typical economical year. So whereas I work with and I know pretty well a lot of bookstore owners, they're always excited to see what I've got. I've worked with them for 5-6 years with all the different books that I have. Then COVID hit. And so everyone being unsure about, you know, whether they're going to be open or they can be closed, or will they be able to pay their bills, or will they still have a business and all that. I've kind of laid low on the 2020 scene just for common courtesy. Not banging on doors and groveling, please buy our books. Now, I do have a few bookstores that have been doing, continuing to order from us, and we do a lot of online sales and a lot of Amazon sales and all that kind of thing. So that's still there. With a vaccine on our horizon, our sales department is getting going again and visiting again with more bookstore buyers. Librarians, that's another big one. But of course, libraries have not always been open either. So 2020 has been an interesting year. Let's just put it that way. But it's not hard. And honestly, between Kayla and Becca and our authors, these books are awesome. I'm really proud of them. I have often said we are a group of neurotic perfectionists, and it's true. The books really do sell themselves. So we just have to wait for COVID to, move along. So, all right, the next one is Paula, the only one who does poetry. Well, actually, Paula is one of them. Joanne does poetry. I accidentally wrote a poetic book, which is really weird. That was a Jelly Beans book. Joanne tends to write in poetic prose for her children's books. Paula, tell us about the other poetry you've gotten. Plus, you do something with Northern Illinois NPR stations.
Right. Poetically Yours on the WNIJ station out of Aurora. The program is called Poetically Yours, and it is at 12:30 and 6:30 on Fridays. And they do a poem. And then on their website, they print the poem and they give you bio information about the author. I also belong to the Rockford Writers Guild, and they have a publication called the Rockford Review, and I've been published in there once. Poetry. I love writing poetry. I have a file cabinet of poetry that someday I may actually go through and get out another book of poetry, because that's my first love, is poetry. I've got all these other books, but poetry. The other poetry book I have written besides Days of Days and Night Maze is Widow's Tears of Sorrow, available on Amazon. And that is poems about loss. Obviously, you can tell from the title. Days of Days and Night Maze are the weird poems. These are Days of Days is the everyday, like, why is my sink always backed up and what have I got to do today? Whereas Night Maze talks about the monsters under the bed and in the closet and things like that. But poetry is my first love. I'll go back to that, I'm sure.
Okay. And all right, so let's see what we have. We don't have any other pictures, and we've been jaw wagging for 45 minutes already. Can you believe it? All right, is there anything else you guys want to say? And then I'm going to start figuring out who's winning which books. Anything else you guys want to say?
Buy
Don't be
books.
shy. What?
My books.
Buy books.
Yeah, buy books. That's, yeah. And actually, I'll say too, if you do happen to get, if you do happen to buy books, and that would sure be awesome. If you happen to have a local bookstore or over to your library, go over there and show them the books, because right inside the front covers has all the contact information. They can get a hold of us and our sales department, and we'll get them routed to where they need to be going. All right, and let's see. So, okay, what I have on here, the first one up, Terry and Sarah, I've got I Do, the I Do book for you. I'll find that there. So that one, All My Funny Stories, that's my humorous memoir. Izzy, I'm gonna give you Sweet Sour Cherries. This is by Paula. And Lisa, I'm going to give you Superhero Joey, which is by Amanda. And Randy, I'm going to give you Sleepover with Grandma. There you go. And let's see, I have Anna. Anna asked about the cookbook, so I'm going to give you the cookbook. There you go, the first of the Baker's Dozen. And then Carrie, I'm going to give you Terrific Tons. And there was one other on here that asked a question. I think that is Sandy. And she asked about Kayla's illustrations. So Kayla, what book do you want to give to Sandy?
That's my granny.
The what?
That's my granny.
Oh, okay. So yeah, what book should we give her? The grandma one again, or what?
Let's do Bobby Bear. Can we do
Oh,
Bobby?
sure. Okay, so we'll do Bobby Bear to Sandy. All right, so what you guys can do, if you could, is in the how best to find me. Well, the page that you're watching this on, Books by Fox Pointe Publishing, message me, private message me your mailing address where you want these books to go, and I will get them in the mail to you tomorrow. And there you go. If you have any other questions, of course, you can ask me as well. And other than that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us on our first Facebook Live event of 2021. We're going to do this again on Tuesday, January 26th, then I believe February 9th and 23rd, March 9th and 23rd, and I can't remember what April's dates are. I think it's 13th and 27th. But the second and fourth Tuesday evening is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is where the party's at, and we're giving away free books. So, you know, how good is that? And actually, the end of February, we'll have Ray on with her book. So when she goes like this, showing you the book, it'll actually be the book that you'll be able to see. Pretty exciting. And we'll also have Jason on, and he is coming out with his book as well. Ray's book is coming in at about what, 450 pages?
I think it was 410. So unless
Okay.
somebody surprises me with
Surprise!
more pages,
Woohoo! And
like
then,
a deleted scene I didn't write.
oh, well, it could, okay, and I'm getting it confused. Jason then is like 550, 560 pages. So there you go. So those should be some fun books as well. Anyway, all right, thank you so much for joining us. Much appreciated. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. You can always get a hold of us at the Facebook group, Books by Fox Pointe Publishing. And then, of course, our website, foxpointepublishing.com. The point, of course, has the E on it. You can always get a hold of us. We're pretty accessible. And I thank you so much, and we will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.